In this video, I'm going to show you how you can install and run GROMACS and VMD on a Windows machine. But before we begin, I should mention that GROMACS works better on a Linux machine, especially if your system has a CUDA-enabled graphic card. The GROMACS performance on a Linux machine is significantly higher. So first, I recommend migrating to Linux for using GROMACS as well as other computational software. And you can also have both Linux and Windows on your PC simultaneously by dividing the partition of your system storage. But if you only have a laptop or a desktop and just want to install GROMACS to practice and learn the software, this video is for you. I always recommend Linux for using computational software, but if you don't have a CUDA-enabled graphic card and you only have a Windows system, don't bother yourself by installing a real Linux on a real partition of your system, because in this case the performance difference is not that much, and you can install a Linux inside your Windows system and then install GROMACS on it, as I'm gonna teach you in this video. So what I'm going to do today is first installing a Linux inside Windows that is called WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, which is some sort of virtualization, and then install GROMACS on it using Linux Package Manager. This is the easiest way to install GROMACS, and then I'll teach you how you can compile GROMACS on WSL. This is a bit harder, but in this way you can have every version of GROMACS including the latest one. And then I'll show you how you can download and install VMD, a graphical program for GROMACS. And finally, I'll show you how you can use these two programs on a Windows system. Alright, let's get started with installing WSL on Windows. And by the way, this is Windows 11, but you can do the same job on Windows 10. But don't forget to update Windows before installing WSL, because this feature don't work on some old non-updated Windows. Okay, first we need to enable the Windows Subsystem for Linux. I'm gonna press the Start button and type Control Panel and open it. And then I'm gonna click on Programs and turn Windows features on or off. Then here I'm gonna turn on Virtual Machine Platform and Windows PowerShell and Windows Subsystem for Linux. So we need to enable three features. Actually, Windows PowerShell is not necessary, but it's better to turn it on. And I'm gonna click on OK. Okay, to make it work, we need to restart the system, and I will be right back after restarting the system. Okay, I've restarted the system, and now we can install a Linux distribution on WSL. And to do so, we need to click on Microsoft Store, and here in the search box I'm gonna type Ubuntu. And if you don't know what's Ubuntu, Ubuntu is a Linux distribution, which means a variant of Linux, and here we have different version of it, and I'm gonna go for the latest LTS version, which is 24.04. so let's get it. And it automatically installs Ubuntu on Windows Subsystem for Linux. Alright, now we can open it from here or from the start menu. But before opening Ubuntu, I'm gonna open Windows PowerShell or Windows CMD and type wsl.exe update. And that's because sometimes WSL won't work without updating. I'm gonna press enter. Alright, it doesn't need an update because I already installed WSL update, but make sure to update before opening WSL. And now press start again, and I'm gonna click on Ubuntu. Okay, now please pay attention to this error. It says we need to enable virtualization in the system BIOS. And actually I disabled virtualization of my system intentionally to show you this error, because you certainly will get this error if the virtualization of your system is not enabled by default. I'm not going to show you how I enable virtualization on my system because that differs on different motherboard brand and different motherboard models and also different CPUs, but that's not a complicated job, and the overall procedure is like that. You must restarting your system, and then when rebooting the system, press the delete key to enter the BIOS settings, and in the BIOS settings you must find CPU virtualization and enable it. You can also Google how to enable virtualization including your motherboard and CPU brand. Okay, I'm gonna enable virtualization on my system and I will be right back. Alright, I've restarted the system and now I can open Ubuntu from the start menu. And it takes a few minutes. Okay, now I must give it a new username. I'm gonna type Hossein, that's my name. And a new password. And retype it. Alright, now I have a brand new Ubuntu Linux inside my Windows. Let me increase the font size so you can see everything better. Now let's install GROMACS on it, and the easiest way to install GROMACS on Ubuntu is to use its package manager. And a package manager is a program that automatically download and install software from online repositories and make installation quite straightforward. The Ubuntu package manager is apt and it needs administer privilege, so I'm gonna put sudo before it. And first thing first, we need to update it, so I'm gonna type update and press enter and type my password. Now the package manager database is updated, so let's search for GROMACS, apt search and GROMACS. As you can see, there are a few packages related to GROMACS, but we only need this one. So sudo apt install GROMACS. I'm gonna type capital Y and press enter. And that's done. And to make sure that the program is installed on the system, I'm gonna type gmx and press enter, and it shows that the GROMACS 2023.3 is installed on the system. I'm gonna show you how you can use the program later on, but for now I want to teach you a more elaborate way of installing GROMACS, which is installing using compiling the source code. And the point of it is that you can compile every version of GROMACS, you can compile the latest version of GROMACS, and you can also active special features of GROMACS. And to compile GROMACS, first we need its source code, and GROMACS is a free and open source software, so you can download it from its website. I'll put the link in the descriptions, and in this page you can find every version of GROMACS, even very old ones. I'm gonna go for the latest stable version, which is 24.4, and click download. In this page you can find a link to the source code. Okay, let's copy the link, and in the Ubuntu in the WSL, I'm gonna type wget and then right click. Okay. And this command wget download the link of the file. Okay. Now I have a compressed file of the source code of the GROMACS source code, and to uncompress the file I command tar xvzf and then the name of the file. Alright, now we have an uncompressed folder here, and this folder contains the GROMACS source code. Let me show you what's inside the folder with ls command, and you can see what's inside it. And now what I'm gonna to do is first create a new folder inside the GROMACS folder. I'll do it using mk directory command, and let's name it build. And then I'm gonna go inside the build folder using cd command. Now I can compile the source code inside the build folder using the cmake command. But before doing that, I have to install a compiler and some other tools which are necessary to compile the code. But don't worry, we can easily do the installation using the apt command. And to make it even easier, I've put the installation command in the InSilicozy website, so you can copy it from here and just paste it in the command line. Okay, that's done, and now we can compile the GROMACS source code using 3 simple commands. The first one is the cmake command. You can copy it from here. And just pay attention to this option. This option specifies the path of the GROMACS binary of the compilation, and this is in the opt folder. And it will create a new folder named GROMACS-24.4 in the opt folder. This is an arbitrary name. You can name it anything you want, but if you want to install a different version of GROMACS, name it correctly. Okay, I'm gonna press enter. And now the configuration is done, and I can compile the code using the make command, and I'm gonna use 6 CPU cores and press enter. Alright, it takes a while to do the job. Alright, now the compilation is done and it has created some binary files, so I can install them using sudo make install command and press enter. Okay, the installation is done. Let's check the installed program files. They must be in the opt GROMACS 24.4 and bin folder. Alright, now because we want to provoke, we want to recall GROMACS command in every location, in every folder, we need to source this file gmxrc.bash in the bash rc file of the bash shell. And you can do this easily using this command. But again, notice the name of the GROMACS folder in the command. If you have changed it in the previous step, you must change it here too. The names must be exactly the same. and then press enter. Alright, after sourcing the file, we need to restart the bash shell, exit and open it again. Now if I run gmx command, you can see that the GROMACS 2024 has installed on my system. Also, I can check the location of the program using where is command, where is gmx, and it shows that I have two GROMACS binary file on my system. One is in the USR bin folder and the other in the opt folder. That's because I have installed GROMACS in two ways. The first one is the one I have installed using the apt command, and the second one is the compiled one. And actually now we don't need the first one, so let's remove it using apt command, sudo apt remove GROMACS, and yes, let's check it again, and now we only have one GROMACS binary file, which is the compiled one. Alright, some of you may ask, can I compile GROMACS with GPU support in WSL? Yes, but you shouldn't. For creating a GPU enabled GROMACS, all you need to do is first installing Coda Toolkit and then compiling GROMACS using GPU equals Coda option. If you are interested, I have another video which shows how you can compile with GPU support in Linux, but I don't recommend compiling for GPU here in WSL because the performance isn't great. Actually, it's awkward and simulations takes longer time using GPU than without GPU in WSL. Okay, now let me show you how you can use GROMACS and VMD, a graphical program, to visualize molecules in WSL in Windows Subsystem for Linux. And actually you can't install VMD here in WSL because it's not a graphical interface, but you don't need to because you can install VMD on Windows itself. All you need to do is download the installer from its website. I'll put the link in the descriptions. Here I recommend downloading the latest stable version, and it has two versions for Windows, one OpenGL plus Coda version and one only OpenGL version. If you have a NVIDIA graphic card, download this one, the Coda version, and if you don't have, download the OpenGL version. Okay, you can download it from here, and you have to register in the website, and then it allows you to download the program. And I already downloaded the program, the install of the program, and you can install it like any usual Windows program. Okay, and then you can open it from the start menu. So the installation is quite easy, but a confusing thing is that how you can access the WSL files in Windows so that you can use VMD or other programs. You can't access WSL files in Windows, but you can access Windows files and folders in WSL. To access Windows file system, we have to go to /mnt, and then here you can find Windows drivers. In this system I have two partitions, C and D, and here I can access contents of each of them using cd command, cd/mnt/c for example, and here I can see contents of the C driver. Let's make a new folder in the C driver. Let's name it WSL, and I'm gonna put sample input file, a sample GROMACS input file in there. You can download this file from the website, from the InSilico's website. I'm gonna put the link in the description box. Just download the file from here. And now if I go into the WSL file, I can see the file here. I have created this file, this sample simulation input, so that you can test programs, GROMACS and VMD, and find out if they work properly. So this is not for learning simulation, and please don't use the sample files for real simulations. We'll talk about GROMACS's input files later on in this workshop, and I'll teach you how you can create. But for now, this is just a sample file. Actually, this is a folder compressed as a file. So first, let's extract it using tar x with F, the name of the file. Alright, now we have a folder here, so let's go into it. Okay, to run a simulation using GROMACS, first we need to create a binary input file, a GROMACS binary input file, which has TPR extension using these files, actually some of these files, and the command is gromp. You can find the complete command here from the website. I'm gonna copy it and paste it here. All right. We have the simulation input file here, and now we can run the real simulation using gmx mdrun v and def and nvt. Okay, I'm gonna press enter. And the simulation is done. It was a very short simulation. It only took 11 seconds to complete. And as you can see, it used one MPI thread, which means it was on one system, one PC, and 6 OpenMP thread, which means it used 6 CPU cores, which is good because my system has 6 CPU cores and it used all of the CPU power. Now, if I check output files, I can see that there are new files in the folder, the output of simulation, and this one is a geometry file which contains geometry of molecules and atoms. And we can open it and see the atomic system using the VMD program. Okay, let me open the VMD again. I'm gonna go to the file, new molecule, and the file is in the C driver and WSL and GROMACS running test folder and nvt.gro file. That's the geometry file, and open and then load. And here we have the atomic system. Alright, I'll teach you how you can use VMD later on, but for now, that's how you can access and visualize simulation results using VMD in Windows.